Yo, hello. A few of you already here. I know this is not the regular time, but I want to get to bed. Didn't really get much sleep tonight. Not because the baby was being much, but just because my mom was visiting and it was super hot and yeah, like a bunch of stuff. Had to get up early, all that kind of stuff. So I want to get to bed. That's why we're early. But yeah, excuses. Don, how much longer will this range torture us? As long as needs to. It's actually really interesting because the S&P is up today and Bitcoin is down. I figure that's because of the Silk Road coins that moved. But yeah, it's not actually that many coins, all things considered, but enough to push prices down. So we'll talk about it. Can you increase the mic volume a bit, please? Can I? Let me see if I can. Give me a sec. People have been complaining, so. Oh yeah, this computer's so old. I never use it. It's just a streaming computer. Don't use it for anything else. Isn't there like a... Oh yeah, I'll leave it. Otherwise I'll dox myself. I'll do it for next time. I think it's been okay. But yeah, Windows has like a thing to dox. Not that it matters too much given I'm doxed anyway, but yeah, I'll do it next time. I promise, because on my mic I cannot do it, and while the stream is running I cannot do it, so yeah, you're gonna have to deal with it. But the comments have been heard. Like people that are listening on the phones, I've been told are not having the best of times, so we'll fix that, I promise. Just gotta be offline for that. Haven't been here in a while. Is Tech still with that girl you fell in love with? Yes. Technically, yes. Also, practically, yes. I'm even more with the girl now, given we have a child. So I'm guessing that is half more. Like her is 1, and then half more because, yeah, self-explanatory, whatever. But yeah, we'll talk about the markets today. Bitcoin, a little bit of the altcoins, but the altcoins are really fucking boring, so I'll spare you. 1.25. How did you arrive to 2.25? Because I would say like the child is 50-50, so 1.5. But I'm curious how the 1.25 works. On my phone, and mic is great. Well, perfect. But I'll increase it so people can actually just turn it down if it's too loud for next time. Genuine question. Genuine. Question. Don't you think it's wild having a child with a woman you barely know? I mean, it's not like it was planned, but just kept her. I wasn't necessarily like, I didn't set out. It was like, I'm gonna get someone pregnant today, but turned out good, and I do know her now, so should rename the stream to Technical Round Trip. Yeah. But yeah, before we start the proper show, shout out to Woo for sponsoring the show. Just go check out the links in the description. They have like a trading competition going on, all that kind of stuff. I think that's like one of the ways where you can actually gain an edge, right? Because if you have like a little bit like you pay fees whenever you trade, right? So even if you're like, okay, could go up, could go down, 50-50, blah, blah, blah. If the size of the people trading, as in like if there's not that many people trading against each other in a competition and there's a reward, you can actually, even if you're like just hoping for luck, you kind of have a little bit of an edge, which is quite cool. I was actually like back in the day when I was started out to trade. It's actually the stuff that I was looking for, like competitions. I would move there, do the competition, and then wait for the next one, basically. Still remember those times, good old times. But yeah, so you should check them out. We're working with them. They've been excellent, and yeah, it's an interesting kind of way to go about it. Don, are you still active as a gambler, Quack, on WooX? No, so I'm on the leaderboard. I haven't checked in on the account in ages, ever since having a child, basically. So I'm still top 3, I think. I've just hidden the position. I could turn it back on again. I'm just not trading. So I felt kind of meaningless to be on the leaderboard while I'm not trading. And there's not going to be any trading in a while, I think, just because the market's kind of shit. But we'll talk about that too. So technically, account still exists. I didn't lose. I just stopped trading because there's other things in my life right now. But yeah, the leaderboard account still exists, and I'm still planning to run it up. I want to see how far, but not right now. So, any updates in suing the government about the margin trading tax trap? I still, I mean, basically what needs to happen, because that didn't apply. Like I just avoided like margin trading in the last few years because I'm not an idiot, right? But this year basically I traded a bunch just for fun, smaller size, but turned out bigger. It's actually like, if you have seen my Woo account, I did the same thing with leverage on Bybit, just like with 10 times the results or something. And for that, I will have to pay a lot of taxes, because in Germany you have to pay a bunch of taxes for leverage trading, basically. And but that has to go through still. Like I still, the year has to complete, and then I can properly sue them. So there's not going to be an update on that for a while. But yeah, let's jump through the market real fast, and then we can talk about other stuff. Please, US government, stop selling. Yeah, they're being a pain in the ass. But yeah, monthly time frame, still nothing, right? It doesn't really make much sense to talk about. The weekly time frame is a little bit concerning to me. We've had a breakout, right? And the one thing, and I've talked about this on stream a lot over the years, right? But when you have a range and you go sideways and you break out, and then you come immediately back and go sideways here, like this is one of my least favorite breakout setups to trade, right? I hate going long here. If anything, I usually wait for this to break down and then short on kind of the loss of the breakout, right? The breakouts that I do like are the ones that never look back. As in, you have a breakout, it comes here, it doesn't even pull back to the level, and then it goes. Like that shows strength. People are jumping in because they like urgent jumping in, because like, we missed the boat, we need to get in at any price. This is the opposite, right? Everyone's getting the chance to buy right now at these prices, and I wonder why, right? We have good news. We have a bunch of stuff in favor. The news cycle turned from very negative to very positive really fast, and we had one pop. Took advantage of that, obviously, but since then it's just been garbage. And 3 weeks of that is a little bit worrisome. Now, this isn't technically bad, right? Like, on the technical side of things, we still broke out. The problem is that we're also in an area of resistance, right? So in between 30K and 32, 33K, that's an area that just isn't great to be in. Just based on the fact that it's right below the previous all-time high range, right? And when you're looking for a move, you don't want to necessarily take it into, like, if you're trying to long, for example, you don't want to take that trade into the last resistance before everything goes up, right? So for example, like the same on the downside, you don't want to short into the last support because that's usually where bulls show up. And it's the same with resistance, right? You don't necessarily want to be the person that longs into the last resistance, because for me this is the last one. You have like monthly resistance. It's pretty much the same area, 30k to 35k ish. But if we break this weekly resistance, there's not that much resistance is left, right? We're just back in the old range. And if you come back into the old range, you could say this is all a deviation. That was basically the shakeout, and what a shakeout it was, right? With FTX going bankrupt, with Free Arrows Capital, with like Luna, everything going to shit. That would be like an epic shakeout. But right now it's basically a bearish retest, and I'm personally not willing to take the gamble. Now, I've been looking at this every now and then, and I've been like, I actually don't hate it. Like every time we basically hit 30k, I was like, it's not that bad. But I'm holding myself back because I have like, my brain is basically like, this is not a good idea. I go from being like super feeling like it's gonna break down to going, or maybe it'll actually come up and then it'll just go immediately to 40k every other hour. Like I'm just like, it's like a weird area, right? It's an indecision area where the market hasn't made up its mind, and I can basically attest to that because I have very much not made up my mind, and I go from one extreme to the other. So I'm just kind of like, leave it, see how it goes, and then we can make decisions higher or lower. But right here in the indecision zone, I don't want to be the person that makes the decision. I'll let other people handle it for me. So that's that. It's the weekly time frame. If we lose 30k, right, you don't want to stay in the way in the way of this, right? Like I don't like bidding 27, 28k unless it's like, if you're bidding for a wick, like if it's an illiquid wick to the downside where people get liquidated, then I could see myself buy this, hoping for a close back above 30k, and I think then we could send it, right? Like let's say this wick's down here, but honestly, even if it does that, I would like to buy 30k at that point, right? Like it wicks down, it comes back up. If it does that, I'm gonna buy 30k, betting on upside. But I want to see that first. And in general, like I'm just gonna buy is more in the, I'm just gonna buy region is more in the 22Ks, like somewhere in here. I'd be willing to. Because at that point, I think you're gonna get the whole thing undervalue, basically, at least for me. And right now, it's kind of like it could go up, could go down. It's a shitty situation, and you can see it in the price action, right? You just look at the daily time frame. We've been bouncing back and forth in a 1 or 2% range for the last, what is it now? Almost month, right? And before that, we were kind of chopping downwards for 3 months, and before that we had we've just been going sideways down, sideways up, sideways down, very up, sideways. Like it's been an odd one, but technically on the daily time frame this is an uptrend, as long as you don't zoom out and realize that we've been in a downtrend on the higher time frames. But low time frame, it's an uptrend. It's struggling though, and it's struggling at resistance here. Like this is like a shitty head and shoulders right now. And if you look at ETH, you have the same thing setting up basically. And I'm not a pattern trader, don't really care about it, but it doesn't seem too unlikely for this to go down. But like I said, it doesn't even seem too unlikely to go up either. It's just an indecision zone. It's hard to make good calls, which I mean, I know it's kind of like shitty to listen to. Like you're like, I came here for for guidance. Well, sometimes you gotta realize that there's not that much to do in the market, or that you just don't have a clue. And I very much don't have a clue right now. The one thing that I'm pretty certain about is that we're gonna see altcoins continue to underperform as a whole. But there's obviously going to be outliers. Like Bitcoin Cash has been doing okay in the last few days. But like the Litecoin trade, for example, completely bled out. Like that's been brutal. People have been shilling it to me ever since I sold. And yeah, it's been not that nice. And the other altcoins all just kind of taking a beating. You look at anywhere, really, Dogecoin, for example. It's been a straight bleed out. You go to any of the coins that were exciting last cycle, and they're very much not anymore. So, why a boomer? Bitcoin stock plays stronger than Bitcoin, MSTR and coin. The reason is because stocks are going up. So when you have stocks going up, the as dumb as that sounds, the Bitcoin stocks go up as well, and then obviously Bitcoin's been getting a little bit of a bounce. So yeah, they're kind of higher risk, higher return plays on Bitcoin, and right now Bitcoin is still at 30k. But as to why exactly, like they're outperforming so massively, I don't know. It's not like I don't really trade those. I just like to trade Bitcoin instead of the stocks. But yeah, they've been outperforming massively. Feels like the market is holding for some kind of indicator on the ETF passing or not. Yeah, and I don't know if you guys have watched Casual. Oh no, actually it wasn't Casual Friday. It was on Weekly Open with Ledger, and Cred actually made a really good argument why he thinks that there's at least, even though BlackRock has a really good track record, that there's a chance that they're gonna get denied. Basically, the argument was that the SEC is going after Coinbase, and then the ETF would use Coinbase as kind of like this. Oh, I'm missing the English word, but basically like as the oracle, as like the place where they check prices, blah blah blah, and that would kind of like shoot themselves in the foot. I like that argument. I still think they'll probably get through, but I could see it be delayed. And if it gets delayed, we nuke. So there's a bunch of headline risk. There's obviously also a headline kind of like opportunity. Like there's a chance that we get it approved straight off the bat, and I think that would be very good for price. So depends on what kind of camp you are in, but I do agree with you that it's very likely that the market's just holding out, waiting and seeing. Bitcoin Cash play is done. I mean, I played Bitcoin Cash. I played Bitcoin Cash. I bought it at 198 or something in here. And then I had to sell it right before going to the hospital. Or like I just didn't want to sit on the position at 190. That was my Bitcoin Cash play. Because I was like, oh, Bitcoin Cash is going to go up. So for me, that trade is done. I'm not going to touch it again. Can do whatever it wants to. It was a little bit of an annoying one because I had high conviction, but I was like, I don't want to think about anything other than the birth of my child, which I think makes sense. But yeah, now I'm kind of over it. That one, I'm not so sure if it's done or not, the Bitcoin Cash play, but the Litecoin play, I'm pretty sure is done. Hey Don, do you like Sol at 10? I mean, Sol is trading at what, 20 right now, no? Where's Sol? Yeah, 22. I mean, if this goes to 10 in one candle right now, would I buy it? Yes. Do I generally like it at 10? No. Like, why would I want to... Like, imagine you buy this at 10 down here. I mean, I get the whole range thing, but nah. Like, that just... At that point, it looks horrendous. Like, you'd expect something like this. So, I like it better at 22 than I like it at 10. Like, if I had to make a choice whether I want to be buying it here, playing for upside, or at 10, playing for upside, I would buy it here. And if I wanted to buy 10, I would rather buy 4. unless something weird in the market happens. Like if Bitcoin crashes to 20K and then you get a liquidation candle on Solana that is just wild, fair enough. But it would have to be wild. It wouldn't just be like a normal day in the office. But yeah, that's that. Bitcoin, like I said, I don't have a strong opinion about this, but I don't necessarily like how this is shaping out, and I don't like that we're going sideways just on top of the support. I think that support is getting weaker and weaker, and if it goes, a bunch of people that only bought because of the ETF will get liquidated and will take price lower. The one thing that could rescue it is the S&P, but then again, we had a 1% up day and Bitcoin's down 1%. But yeah. Is Wu KYC only? Yes. In general, I think the exchanges that don't let you, or that don't require KYC now, is probably not a place where I would want to be. Like, it's too dodgy. Like, I don't even trust Binance right now to do business on, and Binance is like pretty much one of the safer bets. I think you're not gonna get me on a like a bucket shop. Like, it's just no. So it does have KYC. If you want to trade without KYC, just go on chain, I think. How does the S&P play out? I mean, I'm not an expert on that. Wrong person to ask, but it's at resistance right now, and I think this whole area here on the monthly is gonna be a struggle. So as long as this is the case, you're not gonna see me taking too much risk. So that's the problem that we're running into right now. Like, crypto took too long, and now I think it makes sense to be a little bit more cautious. Okay, let's run through like a 5-minute thing of questions, and I think I'm gonna cut it for today. Because yeah, like I said, I don't think that the problem is, and this is something that you guys will have realized too, right? Just looking at the titles of my last streams, it's literally been 30K. It's been the same thing. Like, I just keep repeating myself. So I think like if you have any cool questions, anything that makes sense, we can run through those. But there's not that much to talk about in the altcoin land, right? ETH. I mean, what is this? This is just a downtrend. Looks garbage until, in my opinion, it goes lower or higher, right? It's interesting above these highs here, and it's interesting lower. But right now, like, this is not something I want to trade. Bitcoin, like I said, indecisive. ETH, USD got rejected by resistance, kind of in the middle of nowhere. Much more interesting higher, much more interesting lower. Like, this is the same for all of these, even the ones that are interesting or used to be interesting, like Litecoin. Halving is too close. Bitcoin Cash move is already done, or like at least a good part of it. Other things like Dogecoin, just garbage, right? Like, why would I want to be trading this? So there's a few that might be interesting, but nothing for me. How's the duckling and the missus? Excellent. Like, the missus is recovering, and the duckling is very, very nice. She just sleeps through the night. She's just chilling. And sometimes she gets a little bit upset, and then I just have to grab her and walk through the apartment, and then she's happy and goes to sleep, basically. So very easy. All things considered, like, easy first few weeks, but we'll see if that changes. I've been told that it's gonna get a little bit more difficult down the line, but right now, very manageable. I think like I get more tired by the people that wanna come and see rather than her. So all good on that. Okay. Do you scalp trade? Yes, but only if the conditions are right, which they are right now, not in my opinion. How's the castle hunting? I was looking for a cool place. I found the castle and wanted to buy it. They rug pulled me last minute, basically right before signing. And I'm not really looking for a castle to buy. I was just looking for a cool place to buy, and it turned out to be Castle. But now that I cannot get it anymore, I've just been chilling until I find something that I like again, and then we'll see. But I'm not really looking. Do you still see a big pullback with these macro conditions, considering legacy has been up non-stop and inflation coming down? I mean, I'm not really a macro trader, right? But for me, it's at resistance, and Bitcoin's at resistance. So both are at resistance, which makes it more likely to go down than up. But I don't have a position right now. I'm not shorting. I'm not longing. I don't own any significant amount of crypto. I think I have a bunch of NFTs lying around somewhere still, on several wallets that I just forgot about. And that's mostly it. Like, besides like small balances left, right, and center somewhere, I've just been like de-risking, because I'm a little bit nervous about the whole Binance situation. Not that I think it's gonna blow up, but I was underestimating the FTX situation, and I don't want to do it again. So I've just been kind of like eliminating risk factors left, right, and center. And I will probably keep that for a while, unless I see a really good setup where I can be like, okay, I can buy this. I'm going to make money in the next 2 to 4 weeks. And then I can get out again and wait till, because I feel like at this point, it just feels like something's going to blow up. I just don't know what. And could be wrong. Would be very happy to be wrong on this one, but I'm just chilling. I guess you're purely a trader, but have you ever considered staking ETH for 5% or something like GMX for about 20? No, not really interested. Every time like people bring up staking, I'm just like, people tried to get me into masternodes back in 2017, 18. People tried to get me into like food tokens, and I mean that was a good play for a while. But the shit, like, I don't know, like, just not a fan. And then if I want to have like, if I got to buy ETH at 1K, and I was like, this is the bottom buy of the bottom buys, then maybe you can get me into staking. But I'd rather not. I honestly, like, if I'm buying something and I'm expecting it to go up 50% or 100% in the next couple of months, which is usually what I want to, like, those kind of trades I want to have. If I go out of my way and trade these coins, then I don't necessarily need to make myself less liquid. Every time I do that, and I've done this with NFTs, every time I do that, it just kind of hinders me more so than helps me. But if I was an investor in crypto, obviously I would be staking. But I'm not. Don't really invest. I only trade. Do you think NFTs will ever have a cycle like they had, or is it too scammy now, you think? I think NFTs are going to do well again, just not necessarily the ones that are around right now. This is something that I've been saying for years now. The only NFTs that I think that I like that are left on the market is punks. Everything else I don't like. So I've been thinking of buying punks, but not now. Don, if you had to 2x in 1 year starting now, how would you approach it? Wait for something to break in crypto and then buy. Like, if Binance has bigger problems, not that they would, I don't think Binance is going to zero. Just want to make sure that is clear. But if they get like bigger problems, because it does feel like they did some stuff that was not necessarily above board for quite a while. So I could see them get in trouble for that. If that happens, who knows, right? But that's how it feels to me. I think that could lead to a nuke, for example, and then that's one that you want to be buying. If the ETF gets denied and we nuke, you want to buy that. I think we're going to be above 30K quite fast, no matter what gets thrown at us. Again, but that's what I would do. That's what I do every time. Like, if you see me, like, I usually just chill, and then something bad happens and I buy. And in crypto, something bad always happens. So, yeah. And then in crypto, so far, everything like Bitcoin and ETH usually return back to their highs. So that makes it easier to buy. But yeah, I don't think you need to use leverage. I don't think you need to do much else. But also, if you're aiming for 2x in 1 year with that kind of mindset, you're gonna do dumb shit, right? That's not how you should be trading. Like, I'm not, when I take a trade, I'm not like sitting there being like, oh, if I put this and this much money in, I can double it, and then I will have this and this much, and then I can ride off into the sunset. No. Like, I see a trade and I'm like, okay, how much is reasonable for this setup? And how far could it go? And I'm not like, oh, I want to double my money and whatever. That's like, if you want to double your money, you can also go to the casino and just bet it all on black and just hope for the best, because that's the attitude that gets you wrecked. You want to, if anything, you want to look for good setups, and if that setup allows like a double, cool. But that's not like, you're not going into it with like, I want to double my money mindset. You go into it and be like, this is, I have a possibility here to take advantage of people that are doing dumb shit for whatever reason, and I have edge here. I have the odds in my favor, and I'm gonna execute on it. And I know exactly what my risk is, and all that kind of stuff. It's completely different mindset. Most people that I have talked with that kind of think about it in, oh, I wanna just make a bunch of money, they lose a bunch of money. Obviously the goal is making a bunch of money, but if it's the only thing that you think about, it's just not gonna work. Okay. Someone asked if I think ETH could go below 0.06. Yeah, I think ETH BTC could go below 0.05. No, not necessarily super likely, but I could see like something like this and then up. Wouldn't surprise me. I'm not like, I would not bet on this happening, but wouldn't surprise me. And that would be a 25% relative drop. It's not that much. I think that's actually very tame, given basically ETH's been like, the entire market has been in bear market, and usually during bear markets, ETH goes down quite a bit, right? Here it went down 90%. In this one, it went down 80%. And in this one so far, it's down 25%. So if you're like super bullish ETH, if you're expecting it to only retrace 50% in the bear market, I don't think that's necessarily super crazy, right? Like, I think that's very, very reasonable. Now, obviously, ETH has outdone Bitcoin by quite a large margin, so I would never want to be on the short side of this, but I would more than happily buy below 0.05. I would probably not buy before. So 0.06 is, I mean, doesn't, like, that's so close to price. I would not be shocked at all. I would, like I said, I wouldn't be shocked at 0.05. But yeah. Do you feel we have really consolidated enough to declare a start of bull? I mean, if we go up, yeah. If we go down, no. Binance is the same thing, right? CEOs quitting just like FTX and boom. Not necessarily. I think they have the money. So what I think the difference, right, between FTX and Binance, basically FTX just didn't have the money. Like, they were so dumb. I have no idea, by the way, like how they could be this dumb, right? Like, this is the thing that shocks me the most about FTX, because they basically had a cash cow, like an infinite money glitch basically, and they managed to fuck it up, right? Because FTX was only growing, and if they just didn't do dumb shit, they would have made a shitload of money, right? But for some reason, they were dumb enough to fuck it up. With Binance, I'd be very, very shocked if they didn't have the money. Like, I'm pretty sure they have it. They just did some, in my opinion, and this is something that is very uneducated, and I have no clue if it's true or not, but they did stuff that is not necessarily, like, that's in the gray zone at best. Let's put it that way, right? And I mean, a bunch of the stuff CZ has said gets me worried. And a bunch of the things that I've seen Binance do has me worried as well, which is just like they made themselves basically attackable. But I don't think they're just gonna be the same. Like I just don't think it. Like it's not even close to the same. It's just I think they're vulnerable, and they've done some stuff, or it looks like they've done some stuff in the past that is not necessarily above board, or at least in the gray zone, which they could get attacked for. And if they do, and they get in trouble, then you're gonna see a bunch of panic basically hit. But yeah, who knows? And with this kind of stuff, like betting on like Tether blowing up, Binance blowing up, whatever, is usually not a good trade. But it's always possible, right? Not that I think Tether is gonna blow up. Tether makes so much fucking money. I think they can buy their way out of everything. And to be fair, Binance does the same. So that's more of like a law thing more so than a money thing. But yeah. I know halving is close, but TA-wise, how does Litecoin look? Okay, so halving is like this the first thing you have to think about, the whole narrative, why this outperformed Bitcoin, right? And it did. Like a bunch of people don't seem to realize how much it did. Litecoin outperformed Bitcoin by 200%, right? From the bottom. That's quite a bit. That was mostly like people taking the halving trade, right? Now, TA-wise, what we had is we had a false breakout to the downside, false breakout to the upside. This one is more recent, so basically now you can kind of remove this, and we are in this range, and whenever I see this false breakout, I'm expecting range low, if not another false breakdown lower. So TA wise doesn't look too good in my opinion. Like I've been shilled Litecoin a bunch, I don't get it. Not only on the news front, but also on the TA side. Now, I could be completely wrong. Like I said, I'm not shorting anything. Technically, you could make an argument for it being at support, right, in here. And I think that's why it's basically stopped. But I'm not a fan. Like you will not get me to buy this, no matter how much people try. Don't see the point. What do you think Sam does nowadays during the day? Huge life change? Yeah. Actually, I have no idea. I've never looked into this kind of stuff. It's one thing that I've never really been interested in is like all these celebs and like famous people and whatever and what they do with their lives. Like, I don't know why anyone's like too interested. Now, obviously, like if you're talking with friends, like, I wonder. Like, that's one thing. But like, I've seen a bunch of people just keep up to date with a bunch of like criminals or celebrities, right? And they just want to know, and want to know all the time. And just, I don't get it. I would like rather live my own life. So I never look into this. If someone mentions it, I'm like chuckling and I'm like, okay, yeah, I do wonder too, but I would never look into it. It's never been something that's interested me. So like the whole drama side of things also just not too interesting. I let people do their thing usually. But yeah, that's that. I think that's enough. Sorry for the short episode today, and sorry for the not so much content, given the market just doesn't allow anything. But next week I think is going to be better. I think next week we're going to be either lower or higher, not into the 30k ping pong anymore. And yeah, like I said, below 30k bad, above 32.3k good. Anything in between, you're going to have a shitty market like this, and then you're going to have to fight for scraps. And I cannot recommend fighting for scraps, because if this nukes, you're going to have much, much better opportunities. If this goes up, you're going to have much better opportunities on the trading side of things anyway. So yeah, thanks for coming by. Thanks for the nice comments. Always appreciate it. And yeah, big shout out to Woo for sponsoring the show. Like I said, they have a bunch of sign up bonuses and all that kind of stuff going on right now, which is quite cool. Just go check them out. Links are in the description. And yeah, we'll see each other on Friday again. Oh yeah, and for the people that have been complaining about the newsletter been missing yesterday just been busy. Like I said, my mom came to visit. First time she's seen the small one. So yeah, didn't have time for it, but we will catch that up tomorrow. So you'll get a newsletter if you signed up to it. trletter.com, obviously for free as always, tomorrow. So yeah, thanks for everything. Have a nice evening, day, morning, whatever, and we'll talk soon. Bye bye.